Welcome back from the rest hold, everyone. It's time for us to get into our main event, which is going to be our predictions for Backlash 2016. This is the first SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view that they're doing post-draft, which means that they kind of have to do quite a bit to make it seem like it's worth watching these SmackDown events, yet there's only 6 matches on the card. And there really should have only been 5, but they did a little storyline to kind of get in the way of that. So before we get into the actual matches themselves, I just want to ask you guys, is this enough for a 3-hour plus 1 hour pre-show pay-per-view?
Maybe. I don't know. I'll wait till I see it. It's kind of one of those things where I don't know how it's going to play out till they've been given time and see if they can pull it off. On paper, it looks kind of thin. But shit, maybe they just give all the guys times and we get some kick-ass matches out of it.
Well, normally
I
they
agree.
seem to have like 8 matches or so.
Yeah, looking at the card on paper, it does look thin. It's like, that's it. There's got to be some other matches. They haven't announced any pre-show matches or anything like that, I don't think, right?
Nope.
Yeah, so I'll see. I don't know.
And we do still have people that aren't on the card yet that could be wrestling. Apollo Crews doesn't have a match. A lot of the tag teams that aren't involved don't have a match. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be like nobody's going to watch it unless the Headbangers are on, but I mean, Baron Corbin doesn't have a match. That dude's been doing nothing for months now.
Well, Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews seems like an easy pre-show match.
Mm-hmm. They've been doing this stuff with Kane, fighting Fandango and Gary or Jerry or whatever, the milkman. You know, they could throw something like that out there. They kind of teased a little Baron Corbin versus Kane thing that first week, although they didn't follow it up this week, so any kind of matches that you guys would like to see them add to the card?
No, less matches the better.
As long as they give them enough time, right?
Yeah, I fucking hate watching. I hate it when they just fucking throw matches on there for the sake of throwing it on there. And the worst thing I want to see on a pay-per-view is something where I could go, this should be on Raw.
Well, see, that to me extends more to like the filler content. And I mean, there's filler matches and stuff, but I don't want to see like a 4-hour event where it's only 6 matches and they don't give them any more time, or the matches go on too long. Like, I mean, how long is Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt going to be without it sucking and stuff? But I don't want to see like promos that take up a lot of space or Raw recaps or anything like that. That's where we get into some problems. I don't want these dual brand 2 pay-per-views a month kind of thing to start getting into like, well, the pre-show is going to be mostly just talking. Well, then I won't watch the fucking pre-show then, you know?
I'll watch it anyway. That's your problem.
Peyton, what do you think about all these topics? Any thoughts?
No. Can we talk about the actual matches?
Well, wouldn't you know, that's the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Well, the first match I want to bring up here is the Intercontinental Championship. We have The Miz against Dolph Ziggler. Miz has been doing some great stuff after that Talking Smack segment. Dolph Ziggler had that world title match, didn't quite make it, so now he's got a different title match instead. Both people kind of doing good on the SmackDown brand, but you got any favorites? You guys looking forward to this, excited about it? What do you think?
I think it'll be a good match. Miz is on a hot streak right now. I don't think there's any way that he's dropping that title.
As far as the match goes, I think it's going to be pretty much what we've always gotten from The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. They had some really fun matches on Raw when they gimmicked it up with all those street fights. So I don't think it's going to be quite as fun as that, but won't be offensive by any means. I've actually liked the build to this feud a little more than they've done in the past, but just because of how often I've seen it throughout the years, it's not like a must-see for me. As far as who wins, probably The Miz. I don't see them taking the IC title off him after the buzz they've created, though it's very touch and go because Dolph Ziggler just came out with a world title feud. They might want to rebound him.
Could be. Peyton, you wanted to talk about the matches. What the hell?
This isn't a match. This isn't a match. This is going to be a slaughter.
From who? You got to fill me in a little bit more on here.
Miz.
Yes.
All right. Killing me today, Peyton. I think that The Miz is going to win here. I think that they have just too much invested in him being that douchey character. He's kind of like a big star on SmackDown now. And even though Ziggler is going to be a bigger star on SmackDown with a smaller roster, The Miz is somebody that they can actually boost to a main event thing that he hasn't been there in a while. And maybe he's going to be the next feud after Dean Ambrose gets done with AJ Styles. I think that would end up being a really good transitional feud for the next couple months and such. So maybe that's for the IC title. Maybe it isn't, actually. That could be a way that they can take the IC belt away and it can just be get the two talkers going against each other or so. But I'm not feeling the idea of a title change happening with this match because we have two other titles that are guaranteed to be changing. So why kind of screw it all up and just do it all in Backlash and then not save anything for No Mercy? So I'm going Miz as well. That means all four of us thinking that the champion's going to retain.
Yes.
But let's talk a little SmackDown Tag Team Title Tournament. First match that we have here is a match that shouldn't have taken place, but because the Usos injured American Alpha, they're trying to claim that they're going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks now. We have an impromptu semifinals second chance match, is what they're calling it. The Usos and the Hype Bros are going to face each other, and the winner of that match is going to go up against Heath Slater and Rhyno in the finals. And of course, everybody knows by now, Heath Slater and Rhyno, if they win, they not only win the titles, Heath Slater actually gets a contract for SmackDown. So, Usos and Hype Bros, who do you guys got? Kalen?
I'm going with the Hype Bros.
Ah, wow. I was not expecting that.
Huh, that's weird.
Why the Hype Bros?
Because I think it's going to be a fluke win. The Usos are going to come back later and screw over the Hype Bros, start a program with them. And I think Heath Slater and Rhyno, spoiler alert, are going to be the tag team champions.
See, I wasn't going that route. I was going with something else, sort of similar, but a little bit different. You think that having the Hype Bros against Heath Slater and Rhyno, who's going to get cheered at that? It's going to be Slater and Rhyno, right?
Of course. I mean, the Hype Bros are supposed to be baby faces, but they're not nearly as over as Heath Slater and Rhyno.
Well, Ryder got a lot of positive feedback on SmackDown. I mean, Mojo Rawley didn't, but they were cheering
Suck
for him.
any less.
Who, Rawley or Ryder?
Yes.
Peyton, what do you think's happening with the tag team title tournament? Usos, Hype Bros, you got a favorite between those two?
This is obviously going to be the Usos. They're not going to make a big turn on SmackDown just to have them lose and not at least make themselves to the finals.
See, I'm going Usos as well. I think that it's going to be a situation where maybe they destroy them, maybe they don't. Maybe it's a kind of like decent match. I don't know. But the real story that's being told here is the Usos need to kind of make up for that loss that they had. So I'm not going to say my finals match yet. Wago, what do you think's happening with the second chance match?
So I don't see there's a chance of fucking Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley winning that match with the Usos. I think the Usos definitely take it. Unfortunately, I'm pissed off about the whole thing. Not that they turned; they've been stale forever. I just so disinterested in seeing the Usos at this point. I wish they'd just fuck off.
So do you have a favorite that you actually want to see win this tournament now? American Alpha's out, so it's got to be Slater, Rhyno, Hype Bros, or Usos.
I've been behind Slater and Rhyno since they've got together. I fucking love that pairing. One of a big Rhyno mark. It's one of those guys that is like one of those oddball people that I like. And Heath's always been gold in whatever he's done. This duo is one of those weird pairings that really shouldn't work but does. And yeah, it's fucking great. I want him to win it. I want him to keep the belt for a long time. Reminds me kind of like Daniel Bryan and Kane, but it's definitely a different dynamic.
Do you actually think they're going to win, or do you just want them to win?
Oh no, Usos are taking this. They're going to ruin everything.
Peyton, you're going with Usos winning the belts as well?
The full tournament? No.
You're going Slater and Rhyno?
Oh, yeah. Slater's got to get a contract. This is his last chance. They're not just going to have Slater sit out in the cold.
You don't think they'll continue that storyline for like months and months after?
No.
See, I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on this. I keep changing my mind because my gut tells me the Usos are going to win. And that the main reason why they did it this way was to make it to where like people are going to go like, oh man, Heath Slater's finally going to win. And then the heel Usos just take that rug and, you know, they kill all the vibe in the crowd, because that's a good way to get boos for the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, then what do they do with the Slater contract? Because they could kind of keep this going for a little bit, but maybe it ends up being a little bit tiresome at that point. And
You also got to remember, you got two babyface general managers as well, a babyface GM and a babyface commissioner, whatever you want to fucking call them. They could just go, you know what, Heath, you showed a lot of heart. We're signing you to SmackDown.
that's a good point. Oh man, and then they could have Rhyno like gore him afterward.
But Rhyno, you're fired.
Yeah, my original gut thought was just what you originally said there, Tony, is that the Usos win both of the matches and end up being the champs. But I really am hoping that's not what they go with.
Is that why you want to go with the Hype Bros winning? Because
yes, that's basically the only reason why. Because I just don't want to see it play out that way.
Well, see, I'm okay with heel Usos being the champs. I think it makes sense. Eventually, you build up to American Alpha taking the belts off of them, and instead of having American Alpha just win it right off the bat now and not having anywhere to go, they're sort of the two best tag teams that you have on the roster. Well, not on the full roster. I mean, just on SmackDown. So if they go that route, it's the smart play, I think. It's the easy way in a lot of ways instead of trying to go crazy and figure out a way around it. But again, we could also do something that's very similar to what they've had before, where Heath Slater and Rhyno win, and then the Usos challenge them on SmackDown Tuesday night and beat them. They could always have a quick title reign like that. That could be like the contract thing is resolved. The Usos still go in as champs. Well, still not go in. They go. They leave losers, but they end up winning the championships right afterward. That could be a way to kind of have your cake and eat it too. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, the Usos could just fuck off and never come back.
I don't think that's happening.
It could, though.
You gotta remember too, if the Usos fuck off, you're gonna see more of the Hype Bros. Do you really want that?
Yeah, but if they wrestle more, they might get injured more.
So it should just be the Usos versus the Hype Bros like 5 times a week.
On all the pre-shows, because I don't watch those.
In TLC matches.
Sure.
Now, I'm down on this match a lot. I don't understand why this is something that they've prioritized, but it's Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. I have zero shits to care about this match. Orton, to me, is damaged goods right now because he just got humiliated by Brock Lesnar. Bray Wyatt is perpetually a loser. He's the guy who comes out there, cuts the same random promo about every single person, and then they cut the same promo back. It's just like, well, Bray Wyatt thinks that he's mysterious. Well, I'll teach him a lesson. Either person can win, and it doesn't matter to me. So, fuck it. Like, who cares, really? Does anybody actually think this is going to be a good match? Anybody really interested in it?
I think it will live up to the expectations that the build set, and they are very, very low. This feud has been such... The feud clearly is what it is. It's just, all right, Orton needs to rebound. Let's give him Bray. Orton's going to win this, or if he doesn't win now, he'll win later. I don't care about this feud. It's been... Bray Wyatt's promos have been so dull. It's like, yeah, Randy, you got demons in your head. I have demons in my head. I like you, but I'm going to beat you up. It's like, okay.
I'm dark too, man. Seriously.
Like, literally, they're back and forth being, I have shit in my head. Yeah, well, I have shit in my head.
Yeah, well, mine's louder. Yeah, well, I got a beard. Yeah, well, I'm bald.
It's been the same Bray Wyatt fucking shtick that he normally does, but sometimes, you know, because he's one of those guys that either knocks it out of the park or just fucking totally bores me, and it's been a month of just Bray Wyatt boring me.
Yeah, see, I think that they made a mistake here. They should have gone with that Dolph Ziggler, Bray Wyatt, and Dean Ambrose triple threat match. Maybe even wait and do that at No Mercy. Maybe Bray Wyatt gets a match against Ambrose here instead, and then they kind of factor that in or something, but...
They should have just turned Bray face.
I don't know if babyface Bray really can work all that well. He's got to win matches.
Undertaker fucking worked perfectly as a babyface. People get to people already participate in his entrance. People already get excited for it, and let's face it, that's half the fucking shit when it comes to Bray Wyatt and the Undertaker.
Right before Bray Wyatt got injured, he pretty much was babyface. Do you remember that last night on Raw when he tag teamed with Roman Reigns?
Oh, and they had that awesome stare down, and the fans were fucking like going ape shit for it.
Mm-hmm. People loved Bray at that. I totally think a babyface Bray could work. And in fact, bring Rowan and Harper with him too into the babyface fold. Maybe that. Oh shit! If that happened in this match, like this wasn't even a match. It was just a beatdown where Bray like stares at him for a second, laughs, and then Rowan and Harper come from behind and they just beat the living shit out of Randy Orton. That'd be fun.
Well,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think this whole thing is just to get Bray back with Luke Harper. I think this is going to be Luke Harper's return. I think Bray Wyatt's going to get the win with the help of returning Luke Harper. And I think Randy Orton is not going to recover yet. I think this is going to lead to another rematch further down the road. And Orton's going to lose again, unfortunately, which sucks because he was on the receiving end of quite an ass kicking last time we saw him in a pay-per-view. So,
and what I'll say about Bray Wyatt working as a babyface is that I think his matches will improve for it. The issue with Bray Wyatt's matches is that as the heel, he's typically leading the pace and setting the tone for it. Well, Bray Wyatt's most exciting is when he's flying across the ring, because that good dude can move when he wants to. If he has a big babyface fire and you keep his matches no longer than 15 minutes, he can definitely work as a babyface. So I'm all for it. I think it'll work.
So now you guys are bringing up the Harper thing. Harper could be coming back soon, but they haven't done anything with Rowan other than Bray Wyatt walking out on him. So I don't think we're getting the full trio Wyatt family anymore. Anything happens, I think it's going to be Luke Harper coming back as a babyface, Bray Wyatt staying heel. That could be a situation that I think could be a lot of fun, because then you can get Bray Wyatt versus Luke Harper. I don't think that's happening here, though. I think that's happening at No Mercy, which sort of makes me think that Bray Wyatt's going to win this one, and Randy Orton's going to win the next one. Because they're going to probably have another match, and that's where it's sort of like whoever wins this one loses the next one, vice versa, that kind of a thing. So, unless something like that happens, I kind of don't care. If it ends up just being Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, and they have two standard matches, and Orton gets an RKO and wins, or Bray Wyatt cheats and wins, and then the other thing happens or whatever, then completely hit the snooze button, don't care. And they got to do something better for the future, because SmackDown's not looking that good if this is like their second best thing that they have to offer. So, go around this one time just to figure out last call for who's going to win this one. I'm going to go Bray Wyatt on this one, and Randy Orton for the next one, but Peyton, who's winning a Backlash?
Bray Wyatt.
Way go.
I think in the long run, it's just set for a rebound for Randy Orton. Bray might take it this time because I totally forgot about Luke Harper returning. But in the long run, Randy Orton comes out on top on this feud.
Galen?
Bray Wyatt wins this Sunday.
So we have another championship that's going to be crowned, the SmackDown Women's Championship 6-Pack Challenge. It's got Natalya, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, Carmella, and Alexa Bliss. I would say right now, and you guys agree, disagree, probably I think the least likely winner of this whole thing is actually Alexa Bliss.
I agree.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, I think just a notch above her is Carmella. And
Also agree.
I think it's mostly because she's just a little bit too new. She's got a good thing going on feuding with Nikki Bella right now, so that can kind of keep her occupied, but giving her the championship is a little bit too much, I think.
Well, this is your first champion. It's got to mean something.
Yeah, that's another thing, and that's why the other four all make somewhat sense to me for different reasons.
The last thing you want to do is put that belt on Nikki Bella because that represents everything that was wrong with the Divas division.
See, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that she might have a good shot at this.
She might have a good shot, but it's a terrible fucking decision. That's the last thing I want. Go on, Peyton.
I think Nikki's made leaps and bounds improvements, not just like, well, yeah, her wrestling ability, and that affects what I think her image has improved.
Mhm.
I think her time away has made a lot of people miss her. She's built a big following to the casual fans with her reality show and even just what she's done on the wrestling shows. I mean, we saw the pop she got when she returned at the last pay-per-view. People were happy to see her. I'm not saying that's who I want to win. I just think she's a perfectly fitting person to be the first champion for that brand.
I think if you talk star power, she's clearly the favorite. Now, Becky Lynch is somebody who is kind of the top one of the whole division as far as like she was drafted first, that kind of a thing. She's clearly the top babyface if it's not Nikki Bella. So that's something that I think that Becky Lynch is by far the best choice overall. Although when you start thinking of what to do in the future, it starts making me kind of question that a little bit, because planning for feuds to go on for a while, if Becky Lynch wins the belt here, I kind of think she should hold it for a long time, but then that kind of spoils anybody else being able to hold it for a long time. So I don't know. I'm losing faith in Becky Lynch winning.
I think she's winning. The only other person I see on the out of those women who like you could argue would make a decent champion is Nikki. I just don't want to because of what she represented in the past. I don't want that to be the first champion. I've been hearing a lot, and it could just be scoop, scuttlebutt, that she's going to be taking a reduced schedule because, well, she had a major surgery. And if that's the case, then don't put the title on her. I think Becky's the best choice. I think she was also the one that never got that NXT title win. So, and as the first, she was the first woman's pick for SmackDown, right?
Yeah, Becky
true.
was.
Yep.
Yeah, then everything just makes sense for her to be the champion.
Isn't that kind of obvious, though? Which sometimes it isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, what's wrong with obvious?
See, there's a part of me that's thinking that they're going to throw a real, like, whoa, what the hell? And Naomi's going to end up winning it. Now, I don't want to put too much faith in that because she's never won it before any of the other times that she's looked like she might win. And it could be Natalya because she's like a solid backup option kind of a thing. But overall, I think it comes down to Becky and Nikki, and I keep going back and forth between the two of them.
What I will say about Naomi, if you want to talk about those women that are still prominent from that Divas era, if you want to call it that, Naomi deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
That girl constantly improved. For a while, she was the best women's wrestler that they had. And you know what? She's made attempts at trying things different. I don't think she's ever been given a fair shake.
I'll be annoyed if she doesn't win this belt at some point.
She definitely deserves it.
Yeah, she doesn't have to be the first one, but if, say Natalya wins this, I would much rather see maybe Naomi beat Natalya for it, and then Naomi drop it to Carmella or Alexa, probably Alexa, and then for maybe Becky to win it off of Alexa, than to see Becky hold the title 4 times in a row or something like that, or to be traded off between Becky and Nikki, you know.
Would any of you guys say there's anyone on the roster in the women who is actually more athletic than Naomi? So, like, in terms of just like what she can do in the ring, she's been one of the most crisp and athletic women that they've got. Maybe Charlotte.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think you're gonna like the answer, but I think Charlotte might actually be more than her.
She, at the very least, she's probably the second best. I mean, she's on par because she can do quite a bit too. And there's, different levels.
She's on the number 2 brand, so the second best.
And I'll just go ahead and say, I don't think we've seen all of what Asuka can do yet either.
Oh, that's true.
Hell, there might be like Daria might be the best, you know? She hasn't really been doing anything.
I mean, fuck, Ember Moon impressed me.
Yeah, she was great.
Oh, yeah, Ember Moon. Holy shit, yeah.
Would you guys say Nia Jax is the last? Or actually, maybe even somebody like Alicia Fox, maybe? Nah, she's
I would
got
guess
that kick.
The least is Stephanie McMahon.
You know what's depressing? Nia Jax is more athletic than fucking Carmella.
Yeah, I would go with that.
Yeah.
Thank God she got fucking released. What a terrible fucking wrestler.
Ooh, Carmella?
Yeah. No, sorry, did I
there.
say Carmella? I meant Cameron.
Yeah, I was confused about this. I'm like, what?
Sorry, I don't know why I brought up it's 2 C names.
Yeah, Carmella's actually pretty athletic. She was a cheerleader and everything.
No,
Cameron, I can understand.
Yeah, like Cameron is probably the worst hiring that they ever fucking had.
That's going too far.
In the last fucking 5 years for them, probably. Is she around even longer than that?
She was around for quite a while. I actually think that she did pretty decently for what she was, although she wasn't really all that much.
Guys, we're stupid. The least athletic woman is definitely Eva Marie.
I don't think she's not athletic. I think she's just clunky as fuck.
There's been some pretty unathletic ones, but I mean, they all are to a certain extent athletic. You can't argue that. So Naomi being at the top of the list, she might still be. I mean, that kick that she's been doing, the series of kicks, I mean, that's great. That's like one of the best things that they've got going for them right now as far as like signature moves and stuff. I'd be cool with her winning the belt. I don't really like Natalya all that much. I've said it before. I think that she's kind of bland and boring, although she did better this week on her promo. But, I mean, she's the safe option. She's the heart. She's a veteran, that kind of stuff. So if they go with her, I'm not going to be too shocked. But I do think it's between Becky and Nikki. And if you ask me today, I'll say one thing. You ask me tomorrow, I'll probably say another thing. As far as Wednesday night, the 7th of September, I'm going slight edge that Becky Lynch is going to win. But that's only because we've got Carmella feuding with Nikki right now. And I think that could be a good secondary feud. So Becky's my pick. Could change it by the end of the Backlash pay-per-view. Well, obviously at the end of that, we're going to know who ended up winning. You know what I mean? Caitlin, who you got to pick one. Which of the 6 is going to end up winning?
Man, I think Becky will get it sooner than later, but I don't think this is her time. Right now, I'm split between Natalya and Nikki Bella. And if I had to pick one right now, I'm going to pick Natty. I think Natalya would be a safe choice for them to put the belt on her. So I'm going to go with Natty right now. But like you said, my opinion might change tomorrow.
You're really Miguel in your picks tonight.
Yeah.
I think
she's got a chance.
I don't know, guy.
Cameron's got a shot. Peyton, who's your pick of the 6-pack challenge?
I don't think Natalya is a crazy pick at all. I think Natalya is the best women's wrestler they have on that show. I don't even think that's even debatable to me. That is 100% the best women's wrestler they have on there. You put her there, you can have Becky chase after her for however many months you want to have that happen.
No.
And there's your story.
No more.
Please, sir, no.
Can't take any more.
Way to go. What's your pick?
Becky Lynch.
So 2 for Becky, 2 for Natty. Very interesting if some, out of the blue, Alexa wins because we all put her at like the last. Although Alexa's good. I like her. She's cute. Good in the ring. But we have one more match to talk about, which is the WWE World Championship match. AJ Styles challenging Dean Ambrose. I'm a little bit annoyed that we're getting this here because I think that it's kind of jumping the gun. I really wanted to see these two fight at Survivor Series instead because I think that would have been a great time to have a title change. AJ Styles could go into WrestleMania as the champion at that point. I think now's a little bit too soon for that, though. And it still could happen, but right now I think Dean Ambrose is going to retain and this feud's going to go on for quite a while. It might be like their 3rd match at Survivor Series or something like that. I think a title change is going to happen at No Mercy, not here. So I got to go Dean Ambrose, but I like this feud. I think it's interesting. I think that they're going to put on a good match. Can't say enough good things about Ambrose and Styles right now. They both are killing it. Lego, I know you got a favorite in this. Clearly you want Ambrose to win, right?
Honestly, as far as Dean Ambrose goes, I'm over him as champion. I was really quick-lived. I'm normally when it comes to guys like Ambrose, when fans turn on him, I'm always going, oh, fucking typical, you got what you want, now you're against him. Well, that's me. I'm the guy that's turning against him.
You really think he's that bland?
He's been pretty bland.
His title run has been lackluster, to say the least. And that might just be because fucking Dolph Ziggler, who's the drizzling shit, personality-wise, has been in the feud. But then again, he did his best work in years, so I can't even blame him for that. Yeah, fuck it. It's Ambrose. It's all his fault.
See, Peyton, you think the same thing? You think Ambrose is kind of a weak champ?
He absolutely is a weak champion. I think he's been a complete bust, especially since the brand split. He's been the worst part of SmackDown.
Which is sad, because that's the time that you're meant to shine and show what you've got when you're given that platform, and he's done nothing but squander it, in my opinion.
He's got nothing that defines Dean Ambrose anymore. Once upon a time, I felt like it was there, but at this point, I look at him and I'm like, what makes him a lunatic? What makes him different than anybody else other than he's wearing a leather jacket?
Do you know what I'd say? I'd say he's rested on his laurels. Yeah.
Is there a joke that's going over my head here?
Yeah, it's what Stone Cold said to him.
Oh, okay. I didn't finish that whole thing. I was so bored.
Austin got like a shit ton of flack for that. Offline, but you know what? Fucking
Austin got bad for that?
Yeah,
fucking Ambrose was the one screwing up the promo or the interview.
No, that was. See, I watched that interview. I don't know what you're talking about. Ambrose did fine.
I thought that was so.
I thought
terrible.
Ambrose was fine. I thought Austin was kind of a shitty interviewer in that one, but As far as Ambrose goes, I think the Ambrose champion experiment has failed. I think AJ Styles. You know what? AJ Styles is clearly the number one heel on the roster. The only thing he's missing is the championship belt. So just give it him.
Well, there were a bunch of stories coming out recently. Of course, take it with a grain of salt. Might not be true, but makes a lot of sense to me, where they were originally going to have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins feuding on Raw for the World Championship, and the Universal Championship was going to be introduced on SmackDown, which was going to be John Cena versus AJ Styles. AJ Styles would have won that and been the inaugural Universal Champion. That makes a lot of sense to me, outside of the fact that obviously one of them's red and it's not the blue brand, but that's just a cosmetic thing.
Maybe that's why they changed their mind when the belt came in. They're like, what? They made it red? Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. What are we going to do?
Oh, man, we checked R instead of B on the fucking form. All right. Well, I guess Dean Ambrose can take the fucking belt. But
It'd be great if it came in yellow and they're like, oh, NXT's getting a mid-card title.
it comes out purple and they're like, fuck, we need a new show. Total Divas Championship. But I think that whole Roman Reigns thing kind of threw them for a loop, the suspension, and Dean Ambrose was just like a smart move to go after that. I like him as champion, but I think AJ Styles would end up being the better choice. And the sad part is I don't think now is exactly the right time. So I think for the betterment of SmackDown itself, Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles, it can't happen here. I think they're going to be running out of ideas if they pull the trigger now.
I think it's clear what they're doing. AJ Styles wins the belt and feuds with Cena.
But what do they do? Like, we got months and months leading up to
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
we're going to have AJ Styles versus Cena for months and months. That's what they do.
I don't want to see that for 6 months.
So shit, you're going to.
I don't want to.
Well, tough.
I don't want.
Like AJ, that's what I say, and I guess they can make a few more baby faces. Take Bray Wyatt as a babyface turn. That'd be an interesting opponent for AJ.
See, I'm thinking Randy Orton's gonna cross paths with AJ soon.
Oh, that's going to be a fucking awesome match. There's going to be so many RKOs out of nowhere from that phenomenal forearm there.
Which, if they do that, I don't want to see Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt because they've had that feud already. And at least when they were doing the whole thing with Bray Wyatt and the championship and Dolph Ziggler, it was like, well, at least it's for something. We've seen Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt with Bray Wyatt cutting promos. That's done. It's boring. It's happened before. Over it. That's what I'm nervous about. And I don't think that they're planning ahead enough here. Maybe they are, though. Maybe they got some stuff that they're working on that's like fucking Kurt Angle's going to come back or something. I don't know. But, Kaylin, what are your thoughts on Ambrose Styles?
I have to agree with the fact that Dean Ambrose's title run has definitely lost a lot of its steam. I think the
You're all
title
a
would
bunch of smarks.
I think the title would work better on AJ, but I agree with you, Tony, that I think that this is not the right time to pull the trigger. That's why I think this Sunday we're going to get some kind of a non-finish, like a no contest or double count out or DQ, or hell, maybe Bray Wyatt runs in and interfere somehow. I have no idea, but I think we're going to get some kind of non-finish. Ambrose will retain this Sunday. AJ is going to continue his pursuit, probably grab the championship in their next title match. But if AJ does win, I'm not going to be surprised. So I'm going to say Ambrose is retaining, but he won't hold on to it very long.
So you and I have Ambrose retaining. Peyton, who you got going with here? Is Ambrose going to keep the belt or is Styles winning it?
I think Styles is getting that title. Whether it happens at this show, it's tough to say. They could really go either way. They could extend this feud out for 5 months. They could do it tonight, or not tonight, this week. I think more than likely Dean Ambrose is retaining for this one.
3 votes for Ambrose. Wago, you sticking with Styles?
I am going with the man that beat Roman Reigns multiple times in one night. I am going with the man that beat John Cena not just once but twice. I'm going with AJ Styles. He's taking that belt, and Ambrose can be a shitty IC champion again.
So the last question I have for everybody, what's going to be the best match of the card?
There ain't many fucking... there isn't like many that jump at me. Which is
I'm
sad.
going to go ahead and say the women's match.
I think it's going to be a clusterfuck, personally. I've got Styles and Ambrose, and that's just because I've got faith in Styles.
I agree with Wago. Styles and Ambrose, to me, just looking at the card, seems like it's going to be the best one.
I actually think that there's a good chance that Miz and Ziggler can end up having a really good match because they are so, like, they're such good friends. They could
Well,
possibly
they've
have
only
worked on-
wrestled 20,000 times. They should have something down by now.
Yeah. I think that might end up being my favorite match of the night. But then again, I like both of them, so it might be a bias thing. I do think, though, overall, most people are probably going to think Ambrose and Styles is the best match. But that women's title match could either be really good or god-awful. And the same thing kind of applies to the tag titles. I mean, we could end up getting a really, really fun segment with Slater and Rhyno and the Usos or the Hype Bros. Or we could get some kind of a squash match or something that's just depressing. So, I don't
Tony,
know.
you're not getting a good match out of Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley. It's not going to happen.
It might.
No, it's not.
Maybe if Mojo's
I
not
don't think
involved.
Mojo's had a 3-star match yet.
Mojo can, he can get not tagged in. Ryder can do the rest of the work. I actually like Ryder. I do think that the worst match of the card, though, is going to be Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. I'm not looking forward to that at all. You guys kind of agree with that, or do you guys have a worse match?
That could either be really good or really bad. I don't think it's a definite one way or the other. I think the worst match of the night, honestly, women's match.
I'm on board with Wago.
Peyton, you got a worse?
I actually think the worst will be Miz and Ziggler. I think they're going to have a clash of styles. I think Ziggler's going to stomp his feet because he probably thinks he should still be in the main event. And that'll be it.
Well, those are our thoughts of Backlash, so make sure you guys stay tuned for the post-show that's going to be coming up afterward on Sunday night, and of course, keep checking out everything else that's coming your way from smarkoutmoment.com. Make sure you follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already, and I just want to thank everybody for following us for the past 250 episodes. Thank you all very, very much for the support. Got some more things coming your way, some changes to the show, actually, that are going to be starting a little bit next week. We're going to do a bunch of different things to celebrate episode 251, and more information about that on the Mega Maniacs and different things like that throughout the week. But for now, this is it for episode number 250. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.